Hey there folks, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. So last we left off we did some successful missions, so we need to find some new missions to do. Alright, so we explored the Mun, launched a whole bunch of stuff, so we can test the radial mount parachute in flight over Kerbin. That one would be easy, and it's already active, so we need to... let's see here, what do we actually get from this? Not much. You know what? Meh. Let's not do these. Incomplete. Eh. These things are boring. Let's do big things. Oh crap. I didn't realize that made us lose money. Eh, whatever. We have plenty. So, we can... Why don't we explore Minmus? That sounds like a fun thing to do. Science data from flight over Kerbin. That's... pretty easy. Test small gear bay on an escape trajectory out of Kerbin. That's something we're not going to be doing for a while. We're not going to be leaving the Kerbin influence. Probably not this episode, at least. Let's see here. Science data from around the Mun. Nah, we already did that. Okay. I think that's actually good. Active. We're just essentially going to be exploring Minmus. We're going to get a whole bunch of monies from that. Hopefully a whole bunch of science as well. So what do we have to do for this? We have to achieve an orbit around Minmus, receive and transmit data from space around Minmus, and land on Minmus. Transmit, recover scientific data from the surface of Minmus. Incomplete. Okay, so that is something that we are going to do. We're going to build ourselves a very similar rocket to, let's see here, the Munreacher. I think it's the Munreacher Mark II, or Munceptor. No, it's the Munreacher. And we're just going to put a probe on it instead of a little capsule, because we don't have our crew stranded there for eternity like we do on the Mun. So, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna put this guy here. We're gonna bring him all the way up to the top. We need a small little, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like a fuselage section. I don't know if we have fuselage sections, so I guess we will could use a battery bank as a fuselage section. We could use an inline reaction wheel, which would actually be a good idea. And we'll snap that to that. So here we still have our engines, our parachutes, which we don't need because we're going to Minmus and we're not coming back, so that's just extra added weight that we don't need. That also gives us room for landing gear. So let us put some landing gear down. Okay, where'd the landing gear go? I know we have some. There it is. Okay. Landing struts. We'll make it a 4 times symmetry. Angle snap. That would be nice. Let's move it further down. There we go. Alright, so we have that. We could probably use some batteries, so let's slap some batteries on here. We can use a goo container. Only need 1 goo. Well, we could actually have 2 goo containers. We could get it from 2 different areas of space. We need a comms satellite receiver transmitter thingamabob. So let's throw that on there. And we have our solar panels. I don't think we're missing anything. We don't need any... I suppose a landing light couldn't hurt. So, no, we don't need that many landing lights. 4 is not a bad idea. Well, that might drain the energy a bit too much, so 2 it is. Alright. So, the delta V that you need to reach the Mun and land on the Mun is actually more than you need to reach Minmus, which is strange to think of. So we actually took off a lot of weight and kept the same amount of propellant, so I think we should be fine when it comes to what we need to do, except you, Mr. Coms, needs to come off of the Science Junior. There we go. And we'll put you back on the back. There we go. Okay, it's not blocking the front of the Science Junior. Alright, good. So, this should be enough to make it to Minmus, I think. This whole section is going to be lighter. Let's see here. How much lighter is it, actually? So this is a mass of 0.84. This is a mass of 0.05, so that's quite a bit lighter indeed. And, well, actually, I don't know. We added a lot of other auxiliary equipment, but we also took off a bunch of parachutes, which are these guys, which weigh 0.15. So, yeah, I think we're going to be set. So we're going to name this not the Mun Reacher, but the Minmus Reacher. Minmus Reacher Mark 1. Save. Let's make sure our staging is correct, because I've been known to screw that up quite often. Let's see here. These things are going to go down into this stage. So when these engines fire, these decouplers right here will disconnect. Then we'll have these sections disconnect when this engine fires, and then this will disconnect, the engine will fire, and that will be the last stage of this Staputnik probe that's going all the way to Minmus. So we're going to save this, and we are going to launch it. Alright, hopefully it's daytime, and it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to just wait until it's daytime out. And you can see the sky rotating, or rather the planet rotating, and the sky staying the same. And there we go. Should be good. Do we have enough electricity? And we do. So let us throttle up. Turn our... Well, we don't have any RCS, but we can turn our SAS on. And to Minmus, I guess. In 3, 2, 1. There we go. And let's see here. I probably will need maneuver nodes to reach Minmus because there is no easy way. You have to be exactly very, very, very precise with your orbital maneuver to make it to Minmus. So probably almost certainly going to have to use maneuver nodes once we get into space. In fact, I might just do a quick little jump cut until we have an intercept with Minmus, because sometimes it can take a while before you figure out exactly where the maneuver node needs to be and at what particular angles you need to burn, what trajectories you need to burn. Let's angle over, let's tip over a little bit. Still have quite a lot of fuel in this, and we're still increasing in speed despite the fact we're not at full throttle. And there we go, there's the sun peeking over the horizon. There's some cool little island chains, almost looks like Hawaii. Little island hotspot. Some formed by volcanoes in the ocean. It's very cool geography around here. Got some big old mountains over there. Alright. Almost out of fuel in this stage. Let's take a look at our apoapse. It's going to be burning quite high. Oh, we need to start angling. Angling quickly, because we missed our... There we go. And I'm going to have to rotate a little bit to make sure the engines don't destroy our own ship when we release them. And there we go. Perfect. Now let's angle over as far as we can. There we go. I'm guessing this is going to be high apoaps. Nope, not yet, but we're going to definitely make it into space. We can increase the throttle. And I think we should be fine now. We're going to definitely make an orbit. We definitely have the thrust to do so. This stage is probably going to be enough for the trans-Minmus burn, and then we'll have enough in this stage to slow us down and the descent. So it'll slow us down to be in a capture orbit around Minmus, and then it'll also be enough fuel for us to descend to the Minmus surface. And because the little moon Minmus is very, very small and light in gravity, it doesn't really take much to land there, but it has very little gravity, so when we're going to be orbiting the planet, it's going to be a very, very slow orbit. Normally, when we're orbiting, say, Kerbal, we're orbiting at anywhere from 2,400 meters per second to 2,000 meters per second, whereas if we were orbiting around Minmus, it might just be at a nice, slow, couple hundred meters per second orbit around Minmus, which is kind of cool. That's because of the low gravity. Alright. We're going to cut the throttle here soon enough. And then we're going to coast up to our apoaps and do another burn at it. Okay, let's go down, and there we go. Let's speed up until we're at our apoaps. And we're almost there. And ready, set, slow down. Another thing to keep in mind is that the Minmus orbit is not an equatorial orbit like the Mun, so we have to do some strange trajectory burns to find the orbit of Minmus, because it's on a, what is it called, like an oblique orbit. I'm not entirely sure if that's the correct term for it, but it's in a strange orbit, and we'll show you that once we get into an orbit ourselves. Let's see here, and there we go. Periaps. Once the periaps reach space, we will be fine. And there we go. So 131,000, 225,000. It's not a perfect orbit, but it's all right. So now that we're just coasting along and we have some fuel left, we are going to take a look. So that's the Mun right there. This is the guy that we reached earlier. This is the one we're going to try to reach now. So I am going to try to get a maneuver node to it. Ooh, what's that? Oh, it's an asteroid. Now, wouldn't that be cool to try to intercept? It's not going to happen, though. I'm not that good. It's far below us, too. So, as you see, the orbit is higher in this plane, and it's lower in this plane of the orbit. So, it's kind of weird. But I'm going to see if we can get an intercept with it. So let me zoom back on our spacecraft, and I will be right back as soon as I have an intercept with it. So see you guys back in a little bit. Alright folks, here we are. It's been a painstaking effort, but I kind of finally figured out how to do it. Was you know how there's no matter how you do it, there is going to be two places that the orbit meets the equatorial plane of your orbit. So what I did was I waited until Minmus was right around this angle, and I just shot out straight towards that equatorial area, and we're actually going to come into an encounter with it. I had to wait 14 days, so, but we have come into an encounter with it. So as soon as our spacecraft comes around once more, we're going to burn at that specific area. We're probably going to have to do a correction burn somewhere around the Mun orbit. But let's speed up a little bit until we reach our maneuver node. And slow down. There we go. We are 19 seconds away from the maneuver node. However, we are also very, very close to it. If on the nav ball you see that little blue indicator, that is our maneuver node. The estimated burn time is 30 seconds, so we might as well get started as soon as we get on that nav marker. There we go. And there we go. We have 500 meters per second of delta V that we need to burn, or probably 600 meters of delta V total. So we may need to use some of the other stage, or we actually might have enough in this the second stage of our rocket. We'll find out shortly. Uh-oh. The maneuver node's flying away. Alright. We actually are not far enough yet, so let's continue. We burned a little bit too far. We should be at 46 million meters. Yes, so our maneuver node was not, well, our maneuver node was correct, it's just our burning was incorrect. So we're going to have to slow down a wee bit to make our orbit down to 46 million meters. And then from there we should be able to get in encounter with it again. And right now I have Minmus set as our target, so if you saw, we'll take a look at it in just a little bit. Oop, no, missed it. Gotta burn at the retrograde marker. Come on. And there we go. Okay, so let's go into the map mode. We're gonna turn the thrust on just a little bit. And there we go. We have an encounter. Perfect. So we are going to speed up time a little bit. Actually, before we do that, we need to gather science from data around Kerbal to succeed in this contract. We'll just what is some simple science that we can do? Really, there isn't much, so we'll do the goo pod, observe goo, and transmit data. Yep. And there goes the electricity, and we got whole total whopping 3 science added. Oh boy. Alright, let's go into the map mode. We need to make an orbit around Minmus. We have to transmit data from around that orbit, and then we have to land on Minmus and then transmit data one more time. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to use the goo pod while around an orbit around Minmus, and then when we are landed on Minmus, we'll use the Science Junior. So let's speed up time a bit. Let's see here, where's our periaps? 1 million meter periaps, so that's quite high up there, so we should be able to have a maneuver node that will trim that down. Let's see. Speeding up time. We're going pretty quick here in our time warp, and it still seems like we're going slow, but that's just because we're going so slow. Alright. So let's add a maneuver node here-ish, and kind of futz with the maneuver node, or the maneuver points, until our periaps, or our apoaps gets lowered. Nope, we don't want to do that. Let's see here. Doesn't look like there's really much we can do, so once we reach the periaps, we'll just have to burn, and then we'll get in an orbit around Minmus. So we're not going to be going that quick. We're only going 300 meters per second right now, so by the time we reach the apoaps, we'll be going probably, I don't know, 100 meters per second? Probably not much quicker than that. So we can just delete this guy. So let's head on over there, and there's Minmus chilling out in the distance. And we're going to be reaching periaps very soon. In 2 days, actually, so that's not that soon. 2 days, 1 day, 2 hours. So I wonder if we can see Minmus. Well, as soon as we get into the Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to slow down here. We're going to add our add maneuver, and we're going to burn retrograde as fast as we can. Well, I suppose we're not in an encounter with it yet, so it's not going to give us the orbit, or what the orbit will look like, so let's continue on slowly. Don't want to overshoot this, otherwise that could be very bad. So, there's Minmus. Hello. How are you? You giant fuzzy ice ball. Okay, you're not fuzzy, but you get the idea. Okay, now at the periaps, at maneuver, we're going to burn retrograde. Oop, 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 there we go. And we want to have a low periaps here. Okay, there we go. We're going to burn at the apoaps, rather. Alright, so let's... I don't know, can we even see Minmus? That's the Mun. There it is! Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you, buddy. You giant ice ball, you. Okay, so it's going to be another 200 meters per second we're going to have to kill. Nope. And... oop, oop, oop. Right now we're just going to try to match our orbital velocities. So, want to make sure we're right on the money this time. Okay, and we're going to speed up time now until we reach the maneuver node, which is in 1 hour. So, speeding up time just a little bit. We're zooming past it right now. So 40 minutes. 28 minutes, 20 minutes. We might actually be able to burn early, so that wouldn't be a terrible thing to do. It says it's a 7-second burn, but I'm guessing it's going to be longer than that because it's 200 meters per second of delta V. Holy crap, that we have to burn off. We almost missed it there. And let's just get started right away. I don't know if we're going to have enough fuel in this stage to do it. Will we? Will we? Will we? And perfect. Now, yes, we are in an orbit around Minmus. Sweet. Let's delete this maneuver node and then add our periaps. We're going to burn retrograde again to bring our apoaps down. However, we are in orbit around Minmus, which means we can observe mystery goo. Goo feels right at home here. Transmit datas. Hooray! Look at that. Now we just need to land on Minmus without crashing, which is a tall order for me, as you guys well know. So, let us speed up time a little bit. We'll make a nice close flyby to Minmus. Right now we're orbiting at 14 meters per second. That's incredibly slow. You can see Kerbal orbiting, well, it's rotating down there. You can see the Mun orbiting around. This is pretty awesome. This is an awesome shot right here. Oh my god. Physics at work. We're going to probably want to land on one of the flat surfaces if we can. Okay, so I'm guessing we're pretty near the periaps. Nope, not quite at the periaps. But we're getting there. And Oh. Perfect. Now let us... Where is it? Holy crap, that's big. Well, it's bigger than it was looking earlier. Now let's go to our retrograde burn marker. and just try to get us into a lower orbit. And there we go. Let's see here. Now that's going to be a low periaps. We want to land on the sunny side. So let's zoom around a little bit. And once we get to around here, what is it, around here, if we start burning towards our periaps again, we should land on the sunny side somewhere, so let's do that. We're gonna have to ditch this stage pretty soon. There we go. Oh, our orientation switched, which means we probably are going to be landing on the planet now. Okay, let's launch that, get that out of the way. Let's see, where are we going to be landing at the moment? We're going to be landing right here, not quite on the sunny side, so this might be a bit of a challenge, so I'm actually going to burn towards our apoaps just a little bit. I know it's wasted fuel, but I want to be landing on the sunny side. And let's take a look at the orbit now. Almost at the sunny side. Alright. Cut the... yeah, okay, so we're going to be landing pretty close. Still just want a little bit more thrust, and that should be good. Alright, yeah, we're going to be landing here. That's actually going to be pretty nice if we just put a little bit more thrust toward it. We'll land right on that flat lake, salt plain area. I'm not really sure what it is. And I overshot it. But that's fine. We're probably going to... I don't know. Well, it will be fine. Now let's just coast on down. We have landing gear and SAS. That's all we need. Let's see, how is our electricity doing? Alright, the sun's going to be making its appearance known, which is good for our solar panels and electricity in general. So let's reorient our spacecraft towards the retrograde marker. And we're landing. Let's slow down a bit. There we go. Gathering electricity. Okay, our electrical charge is full. Let's put our gear down. I know it's a little bit premature, but we might be landing on a pretty rough surface by the look of it. So much for the hope of landing somewhere nice. Alright, let's speed up time a bit. You know, right here would be a perfect spot to land. It's kind of flat, all things considered, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill our velocity. There we go. And hopefully we can land right around there. Well, let's drift a little bit further. How's our electricity doing? Good. Alright. And we have to make sure that the Science Junior is intact. Otherwise we'll fail this mission, which will be kind of embarrassing. Actually, all we have to do is land on Minmus. It doesn't look like we have to recover data from Minmus's surface. Or do we? Okay, yes we do. Alright, well... now let's continue. Looks like we're pretty close to the cliff edge there, so let's drift a little bit further in. Alright. I don't see our shadow yet. Our shadow's going to be over here. I also don't see any ground scatter from textures, so we must be pretty high up yet. We don't have any radar altimeter like we would in the command pod, so that's something to take note of. We are at around 4,700 meters, and this could be a very high mountain, so let's keep our velocity nice and low, just in case the ground approaches quicker than we thought it would. And there we go. And now we're going to be drifting down to the surface with relative ease. Let's, I don't really want to do time acceleration, but we will. It's actually the Minmus is rotating underneath us and not the other way around. Uh-oh. Something just changed. Do we see our shadow yet? Not yet, but let's slow our velocity down. We have plenty of fuel, so that's not an issue. The little moon is rotating underneath us, which is kind of cool because our velocity is almost 0, but you can see it's starting to rotate underneath us when we do our time compression. Okay, let's continue on down. Oh, auto-saving. Crap. Alright, let's continue down. Oop. We must be getting close. I don't see our shadow yet, though. It's going to be over there somewhere. Oh, there it is. That must mean we're probably a couple, maybe 1,000 meters above the surface. Maybe even less. Okay, let's keep our descent going. Keep us in an upright position. We might just manage this. We can do it. Alright, let's do this. Almost there. Stay on target. Stay on target. Alright. If we land at around 3 meters per second, that would be ideal. I don't care if we break off our engine as long as the rest of the stuff stays intact. We are so close. So very close indeed. And it is at quite an angle, but we should be able to manage the landing. And touchdown. We have reached the surface. We have landed on Minmus. Now we need to observe the materials bay. That is a lot of recoverable science. Too bad we could... I don't think we're going to be able to make it back. So keep data. And transmit. One experiment module will become inoperable if the data is removed. Transmit. Anyways, we need to succeed in this, and we will get plenty of monies. And we'll get a decent amount of science from it, too. Alright. That was a successful mission to Minmus. And we'll just let this thing chill here. This is awesome because of the low gravity. These things aren't even touching. Our SAS is keeping us upright. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's return to the Space Center and see what kind of awesome things and what kind of rewards we got. We're at 129 science, not bad. And 646,000 credits, square roots, or whatever you want to call it. So, plant flag on the mountain. Didn't we already do that? Can do it again. But I think we have bigger and better things we need to do. So let us go to the Science Center. 100 and something science to spend. What should we spend it on? That's the question. It's 160 science for the large rocket parts. What about this, which is processing lab, which would be good for additional science. These are RCS, which is good for control. We have some little flaps and whatnot. These are for jet engines. In fact, we could do a jet mission. We could build ourselves a jet and land on all sorts of different terrains on Kerbin and gather ourselves more science, which would be actually not a bad idea. We could do some in-atmosphere missions. I mean, most of our missions have been space missions, so I guess we could do some atmospheric missions. That wouldn't hurt. And then there's just this. Okay, so let's do some atmospheric missions, actually. So let's research that. We only have 34 science left, so there's nothing else we can do with that. Yep. Oh, we might want landing gear. That might be nice. Whoops. Okay, well, I think that'll be fine. Let's go back to the hangar. Well, actually, let's go to this thing here. And we can build ourselves a new jet, I suppose. Let's see here. We will want some... This is a jet fuselage that carries fuel, 150 liquid fuel. Slap a couple of these on here. We can make this a nice long-range jet if we want. Yeah, it should be good. Don't want it to be too heavy, otherwise it's not going to get off the ground. Structural... Aerodynamic. Here we go. Well, interesting. So, I guess we can have fun building ourselves a jet next time, and we'll have, maybe we'll even make a space plane. And we'll land in all sorts of places in Kerbin and gather all the sciences that we can. Well, there's a drifting truck in the background. Alright, I think that'll be it for this episode. We accomplished quite a bit. Thank you folks for watching, and I will see you folks next time.